Okay, ready?
Yes. Sorry. Oh, well, is that how we do? Is that what we do? Oh, here, look. There
There we go. Hey, welcome to this episode of Making It Work. I'm at my daughter's house. This is Raelle. And she is going to walk us through how she binds a book. She's done several. Did you ever have one published?
Yes, I did publish a book back in my freshman year in college, and I actually had another book accepted by a publisher, but that whole process kind of spooked me a little bit, so I just decided to print my own and bind them and enjoy them myself.
and who made this lovely bookbinder for you?
So that was Dad.
I think that was in another video.
Probably, so it's pretty cool that we get to use this today, except this thing is really heavy, so it's a two-person piece of equipment.
So, and these are some of the books.
We can. They've all been bound a little differently. I kind of learned as I went. This lighter one is actually the first completely leather-bound one that I did.
Oh, this is real leather?
This is real leather.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
This is real leather. I do need to fix a couple of things on the inside, but you can open it and use it just like a regular book. This one's really solid. This is the most recent one I've done. These two were done in a faux leather. This is one of the very first ones I did. The cover's a little bit looser.
Yeah, I noticed that it's kind of loose.
My daughter picked it up today and she has made it necessary to rebind this one, but that's okay. I kind of changed my process since I did this one anyway.
And all of your writing is just on one side.
Yeah,
You
the
don't
reason
have-
that I bind the way that I do, which is what I'm going to show you today, is because my printer, or I'm not smart enough, me or the printer, I'm not sure which, I can't get it to print in the traditional way that you would print a book to bind it traditionally by stitching. So mine are all, like she was showing.
So she has made it work.
I've made this work.
Making it work.
All of my books, they're empty on this side and all the written word is on the opposite side. Just worked better for me, and like I said, it kind of took what I had available and made it work to have these books available. These are the two that are done in completely cloth. This is actually drapery material that I used to bind to this one.
Oh, that's funny.
I say we because one of my friends is kind of brain trust on this. We really like the way this one feels. We're very textile as far as, or tactile, how things feel is important to us. And this one was a really thin cotton. We probably won't use that again. It bled through on the cover and stuff. Yeah, you can pick it. Let me get out of the way and. So the very first thing that I do is obviously print it. I wish I had a jogger to make this easier, but we're going to now cut the pictures or cut the pages and jog them basically. Yeah, we'll swap. What I have is just like your standard old big paper slicer thing. I don't know, I always think of elementary school when I think of these. I remember helping teachers cut stuff.
We have one of those.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see on here, but there is a mark on the page, or on the page, on the surface of this. That is the center. It's done in really light orange, of course. I don't know why, but it may have been what I had. To mark the center of these pages so that they're all cut relatively evenly, because even is extremely important when you go to bind. So.
Okay.
Oops, apparently that had glue on it. Sorry. Also, I don't know if it's maybe just the age of my slicer, the blade, I don't know, it could be sharpened. I can only cut very few of these at a time.
That's everything.
And
that's all of those.
Yeah, that's extremely important though, because if I don't just do a few at a time, it will end up with really jagged edges, which is kind of cool on the one side, but if it's the side that I'm trying to glue it on, it really creates an issue making the book work. So basically cut, and then I have to put these together by number because of the way they're printed. Yeah, it takes a minute, and my thumb is all sorts of messed up because I cut it yesterday. Do you mind working on that for a minute? So I just kind of hang on to these and then stack odds on. Yeah, so this will be your next page, 5 and 6.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have cut all of the pages, and we put them in order as far as they were cut. They're a little wonky, so we're going to jog them because I don't know any other term for that. I've been informed that that's a new word to some people, but
I've never heard of it, but apparently she used it at the bank.
yeah, we had what we called a jogger at the bank, and it would straighten all of the edges, get them all flush with each other, so that our documents could be stapled or filed without any jagged edges, basically. Check it one more time. And then another little bit time consuming, but it's really important because I have bound pages in the wrong spot. I'm going to do one more check to make sure that our pages are in the right order. So, and my thumb has got a Band-Aid on it, so. Change the font, and then sometimes I do have to change the size on that.
Yeah, I can see different
So
font
like
here.
you can see a different font right here. I actually had to change the size and make these bold so that you could even see it. And there's another little section right there that's kind of the same deal. But I need your help. He's trying to sneak out of here.
You need my help with what?
To the press.
Okay.
Give me a sec here. So we've just double checked that all of the pages ended up in the right spot. Rejogging it because now comes the most difficult part of the process, in my opinion. Making sure that you've got the spine of the book facing out of the press and getting it into the press itself. Okay. All right. So we've got the front here, the back here. He's managed to lift both sides. Carefully slide it into the press, leaving just barely enough on the outside here that we can access. Okay, go ahead. Alright. And then put this press, we just clamp it down. And this is kind of another unique way that I bind. Is I really don't have to bind it super hard because we didn't create a fold. The reason that you have to have a press for most, that's good, babe. Most books is they have a fold and you've got to press those back down so that they're all in line again. With this, since these are all cut edges, it makes the pressing part a lot simpler, but the binding part way more important as far as making sure everything's connected. Okay? All right. Whew. So, part of this whole making it work thing. This is actually my favorite, I guess flashing, I think is what they call it, to use. It is not at all what was recommended or what I learned, but this is what I had on hand, and I was like, let's see if I can use it instead of buying the, more expensive stuff, and just see if it would work. So what this is actually roll gauze.
I was just gonna say,
This is split in half to give it a little more thickness and body.
Okay.
This is actually how it comes straight off the roll. This is the perfect thickness for what we do. It usually will cover the spine of my books. And like I said, I write between 70 and 80,000 words, so that is kind of what, think about as far as thickness for how much this will cover. This is maybe, what, inch and a half
So this
or so?
needs to cover the spine.
So this has to cover the entire spine, and it also has to provide a little bit extra on, that's a bad example, on the outsides. I can't pull that one up either. Oh, here, I'm gonna redo this anyway, so let's just pull this out of here and I'll show you. So, I messed up on the back of this, so I'm gonna just carefully pull some of this up so you guys can see. The glue is really stuck in on some places and not well on others. But you have to leave some, which is going to be really hard to see on camera probably because it's all the same color. But you have to leave some so that the book has something to hang on to the covers with.
That makes sense.
Okay? So basically
What kind of glue are you using?
Okay, so this is another thing that I'm not using at all what was recommended or taught to me. I couldn't find it.
I'm just curious, what was recommended?
There's actual book binding glue. It's made to dry with a flexible style, but
That
still
makes
be
sense.
really
That
strong.
makes sense.
The best thing that I found locally, because that was kind of important to me, is like, what do I have on hand, is this Titebond Quick and Thick Multi-Surface Glue. It dries really fast, it dries really strong, and it's flexible. It's one of the only glues that I found that worked well. I actually tried, I don't see it, but I tried like rubber cement, thinking that would work, which is what I did to the back of this one, which is why my daughter was able to whoop it right out. So it doesn't hold as well. It's got the flexibility, just not the strength, which is, I mean, it's rubber cement, you think it has strength, but it doesn't. So basically I'm going to use this. I'm going to use my handy dandy Titebond stuff, and finding a wide, smooth bristle brush. I just have a really thick paintbrush here, and I can actually still use this for paint. You just clean it really well. So again, one of those make it work. Plenty of make it work things on this. I can do this, I usually do it from that side, if the camera can see it well, or what do we...
Yeah, I'll just...
Okay, because I kind of have to crouch down in front of it here. Okay, so with this, I don't use the thin point here. I can just leave that completely intact. I don't use that at all. What I'll do is open it, just take the lid completely off of it. Oh, kind of press it up through here to get some on my brush. And then the very first layer, I'm just going to paint the spine of the book. Do that first, get it nice. You don't want it like dripping off, but it needs to be thick so that it kind of gets in the crevices and the grooves of all of those pages that may not be perfectly aligned. Okay. And then once you do that, well, I usually put it in my mouth. I guess I can't if I'm going to talk. So with this, you want to take it right up to the edge of your book and just have enough to just kind of peek over. So I'm going to cut this. And I'm not terribly worried about this drying right now. It's not a big deal. That's more stability for the spine than it is for attaching this. Okay. So now that I have this, I'm going to check that length again. A little long, but a little long is better than a little short. So I'm going to press this into my glue here, making sure that I've got a little bit on both sides. I'm not terribly worried about super like precision at this point. We just got to get it in there. So now it's stuck there, and I'm going to add one more layer of glue.
So you put a layer on the bottom and on...
Yes, you put it on the paper and then on the gauze. And then you just let it sit for 24 hours. That's how long. I just like to make sure it's good and set. You can kind of see where it's got hit the back of the book and where it's kind of open. Sorry about my kiddos there. If you go the same direction, it tends to work better just because gauze is really loose. So that is the first layer of glue. Can't really go any thicker on the first layer just because everything's so wet. So what we'll do is let this dry, and I'll probably put 2 more thin coats over, like I said, 24-hour periods. So this will be like a 3-day process right here, just to make sure that I've got enough glue to make it.
Just the gluing?
Just the gluing. Just because I like to let it really sit and bind. The longer I let it sit and bind, the better quality spines I get in my books.
Gotcha.
So I could just do 2 layers. I think the last one I did, this one, has only got 2 layers in it, and the spine is really strong in this one. So, but yeah, 24 hours, do another one of these. Don't add any more gauze, we're just adding more glue, just to give it more stability. So, alright. We put it in the press, and then we put the backing on the spine of the book. Now we're going to take it out of the press and make our cover, basically. So,
Okay.
Come on. Oh, I thought you were coming through here. Alright.
I help you, but I don't know what to do.
No, it's okay.
Just loosen these.
Yeah. Usually, yeah, one of these has to go at a time. So just bring that one back down. Yeah, go for it.
How far?
That's good. It doesn't have to come all the way off.
And this one doesn't have one. The tatter's not.
All right. Hey, come over here since you're trying to sneak through.
Alright.
Hold up the press for me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, watch your fingers here. Read the book. Okay. Watch your fingers. I'm gonna let it go.
Too late.
Okay. All right. And then we can remove this, and we'll have.
Huh. That's really interesting.
You got it.
The way it looks. Are you gonna trim this, or that's
Nope.
gonna get?
So let me get back.
I'm asking questions
Yes.
before. Yeah.
No, that's good. So this right here is what's going to keep it attached to the
Into
back
the
of the book. Yeah. And you can see, you can kind of test it. It's all glued. We have no free pages. This is kind of something you want to check before you get it fully bound. So it can bend, it can open, just like a normal book. We are going to stretch some of this out a little bit before we glue it so that it has a little more to grip once we get it in there. Okay? So,
Stay out of your way.
oh, I just pulled sneak. That's no big deal. Next thing we need to do is figure out how big of a cover we need.
And what is this? Just like poster
This
paper?
is just poster board. Like
It
I
doesn't
said,
even feel like
it's just a. It's
thin.
not.
It's almost like heavy construction paper.
Yeah. It's probably the cat's after over there. So I do not get the glossy, like where it's glossy on one side and soft or
Big one.
matte on the other. The reason I don't do that is because, yeah, there's that stupid fly. Sorry about that, guys. The reason I don't do that is because it doesn't grip as well with the glue. It kind of
Makes sense,
slides
yeah.
right off.
If it's glossy, it's gonna slide.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we get the unfinished matte. It's also ideally a little cheaper. Woohoo! And the reason that I get this versus like I've done, I don't have it over here again, but the original book that I did, I used like file folders. Yes. Ninja. Except I failed. I am not Mr. Miyagi. Okay.
Somebody needs to Miyagi that fly. Here, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I don't trust you with that. Here, this is a little better. Okay.
Apparently she's easily amused, just 4 children.
I have 3 boys. That should explain it. Anyway, I used a file folder for the original one, but I found that the cover didn't bend. I actually prefer something that is flexible, and
sense.
it's easier to hold when you read it. Easier to just kind of deal with in general. So that's why I went this route. And once I discovered this route, there was no going back.
I'm trying to stay out of your way.
So, no, you're fine. The margins that I use, you can measure it. I have not needed to measure it. I'm pretty good at eyeing things. I give it about, what is that, like a quarter of an inch?
Quarter to a half, maybe?
Yeah, I think quarter is closer.
Let's go 3/8.
I do roughly a quarter of an inch. I like even less than that. Sometimes I'll go even less just because once it's completely bound and because it is a softer cover, it'll bend.
Yep.
I did that on this and it's really hard to see, but the covers have bent on this one. And where it's been read a few times, actually the spine is a little broken right there. But because it's bound well, it's still intact. So, basically the way I do this is I wrap it, and I just kind of check where my edges are. And the reason I do it like this and I don't have a template is because I want the whole thing attached, like as one piece. And if I did it another way, basically any other way doesn't work for that. Just because depending on how long the book is, like how many words, that's going to change quite a bit. So once I kind of have it, you'll see me bend like where the spine is just to check my width and making sure that I've snugged this up to where it needs to be so that I don't mess up the length of the covers and make it work. Again, there's probably more efficient ways to do this or straighter ways to do this, but this is what has worked for me, so this is what I do. Except I have hit a snag in the table. This table has been well loved and well used for just about any crafting that you can imagine. and it shows. Okay?
Marker.
Yeah, no, that's okay. A little
Did you want?
over is better than a little under.
Sure. Always take away what you can't add.
Okay. And again, like I said, you can get a straight edge. You can, if you want to. You can get a straight edge to make it straighter. I kind of like the organic feel of it doesn't have to be perfect. So then you have the cover, the support of the cover right there. All right, I'm gonna take this out of our way. The next thing, I discovered the correct way to do this literally the last time I bound a book. But this is going to be our cover material, okay? It was the one that you said you liked the best, I think, right? Or is it was it maybe the other one?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that one you liked. But I had enough of this, so this is what we're gonna do. So what we're gonna do is lay this flat with whichever side you want shown, or like what's gonna be in your hand, flat on the surface of the table. Try to get the wrinkles out. Make sure, yeah, this is the same on both sides. Basically with this piece of material, I only have enough left to do one more binding with it anyway. So I'm just gonna kind of use the center of this. Otherwise I would recommend kind of choosing a side. Again, I don't cut until I have this glued. And I'll talk about those margins in a minute. So now that I've got this, I've got the same glue that I prefer for this whole thing, that Titebond. And I'm gonna put it on the outside of the cover. And what I like to do is thin layer over the entire thing here. And work fast because it dries fast. All right.
It's a little wrinkle.
Take that out of my mouth so I can talk. So once you get that, you push it down. Start from the spine, move out to smooth it down. This should take any wrinkles out of it as well. If you're really concerned about wrinkles, you can flip it over and just kind of see how smooth it is. It looks fine. It's going to be on a flat surface to dry, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. My corners started drying really fast, so I'm going to see if I can touch these up a little bit. I'm not too concerned because we are going to be putting more glue basically on everything. Alright, so while that's drying, we can go ahead and attach the spine of the book to the spine of the cover. So I tried this a few different ways as well and discovered this is kind of my favorite way to do it. The covers are kind of an in-between paperback and hardback.
Makes sense.
So they do just fine.
Does it matter that this is coming
No,
out?
because I'm gonna fold it. Yeah. They do just fine this way. So what I'm gonna do is just paint a little bit of glue, and I'm not even worried about how much glue I get right here, because we're gonna be painting beyond these margins as well. And then I'll line up the book, making
It's just
sure
about getting it centered.
this is about getting it centered. Make sure that these edges are not folded under, because we need
That makes
those
sense. Yeah, 'cause you're gonna be able to.
attach. Oh, well, that is stuck, so okay, there we go. Now it's moving. All right, so now I'm gonna hang on to this, and I'm gonna add a little bit more glue along those margins that I showed you, those soft gauze that was along the edges.
How do you know that you've got it in the right place as far as?
Again, I just eye it. You can measure it, and if you did take the time to actually measure it and look at, you can make marks, which I've done before. Hang it, so
Get that from your father.
So what I'm doing now, which might be kind of hard to see, and I don't know that I can lift this up to really show much. But what I'm doing is basically filling in any gaps between the cover and the gauze that I'm using here to connect them. All right, so what I do is kind of big dots of glue, and then I'll paint it right up along where the paper connects, and I'm gonna be filling in that crevice right there and pulling it, the glue and the gauze, kind of away so that it gets a more even coating. Okay, and then for the very top, on these top and bottom margins, kind of the same thing, except I just want to get a little bit of glue on my brush versus pouring it there. And always pulling this fabric away. You can use other styles of fabric. You can use, oh, what's it called? I've actually forgotten what it's called. It's something you can use in quilting. It's like where you line things or edge
Binding?
things. Binding, yeah. Like, I mean, I guess that's basically what it is. It would be a binding for the book too. Okay. I did get a little bit of glue on my pages, so when I first open this up the first time, it's going to be a little difficult, but I haven't done that in a long time. Okay. Now here comes an even more making it work part of how I keep the pages bound. Except I don't see my big binder clip. I have a binder clip that's like
this.
Oh, he found it! Yay, I was gonna say I'm gonna make it work because I had something else planned.
That is the name of the channel. If you don't have a binder clip, you can use a nice little chip clip.
What I was going to do, since we didn't have that, was to slide this over, which is not quite as safe for the pages, and then use these to slide in here and support the pages while they dry. Thankfully, I don't have to go that route. I can go the route that I know is safer for my pages. See, I already bent them a little bit with that chip clip. How about I throw that?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
At the
so
very ends.
these, yeah, I like to use these where you can bend it. So basically, this is probably all we're going to be able to do for today, just because this is going to take longer to set than I thought. So basically now we have to wait for the glue to dry that is connecting our cover to the material, and for our spine to be completely attached to the cover. So this is good to go. It has dried. What we're going to do is remove the supports. Just pull. It's fine. Just pull. Click. There we go. Alright, not a big deal. And probably gonna have the same issue over here. Nope, not at all. Alright, I'm gonna leave this part bound for now, because what we're gonna do is cut down our cover material so that we can fold it over and glue it down. That is the next part in this project.
So you want to leave like a little margin?
Yes, I usually leave, how much is that? 1/4 of an inch?
Yep.
Yeah, I leave roughly 1/4 inch. Put that super excellent. Okay, so on each corner, so now this is kind of what we have. This is where we're going to fold over. This is the back, or well, I guess the front and back. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do is cut out little squares by the tips of the corner. I don't really know how to describe that one. I'll just do it and then I'll show you.
So that they'll work.
Yeah. Alright, so now, it's kind of hard to see probably, but I've cut the little L shape almost out of each corner there. It doesn't matter too much which sides you fold in and glue first. I typically do the outside edges first, just to make sure that they're in really good before I have to deal with the longer edge. Alright, so here we are back again. Here we are back again. We've let the sides dry a little bit. We're going to remove our clips.
Your dad likes clips too.
I
He likes
love
the
them.
big ones.
Yeah, I like those too. So what I use, you can use fabric, like in this one, it does have fabric, but it's only part of the way. I found the fabric was just not enough. You can use fabric. I've discovered that I really like using another piece of paper.
I think I like
And
the paper.
I like the paper because it's, you can pick, you know. So basically what we're going to do is fold this in half so that we have a seam, okay? I'm not going to cut this down just yet. What I'm going to do is put it in and then I'll trim off the edges that are sticking out basically. Now I don't put the glue on here, I'm going to put the glue in here.
You're going right over the
I'm going
fabric.
right over the fabric, just a little bit. You don't want to go all the way to the edges because there is going to be some of that exposed. No glue on the pages that are already bound. And then just kind of check your positioning of everything. Snug it up to that center. I'm going to have to add a little more glue. It's kind of limpy right there. We really want it to stick right here at the center because you can end up pulling them out.
How'd you end up doing this? 'Cause
It's a little,
so that you're just gonna trim it.
I'm just gonna trim it. It's not a big deal to me. Something along the line, even the books could, like the pages could be sitting a little crooked or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I may have not centered it perfectly. Something to that effect. You guys can kind of see this edge is not as connected or as squared as the other side. Again, this is making it work. This is not perfection. It really doesn't bother me to have it like that, so long as it looks nice at the end, and I can make it look nice because we can just kind of trim it out. So
That's it?
that's it for this. I've got to let this dry, and I can show you.
Just trim that?
Yep, just trim this, and then you've got the finished product once the title is on it. So
Cool. Let me show one of the ones that's done like this.
yeah, which Levi is done like this, but like I said, I didn't glue it down well. I was running out of glue, so I've got to redo it. But this is kind of what the finished product is going to look like. Again, I didn't do this correctly because I ran out of glue, so I was like, meh, I'm just going to get it done for now and have to go back and do it. But the back pages look like that. Again, not a great example on this one, but yeah, and then just trim it down.
Cool.
And then we'll add the title, and that's how we bind our books here.
Alright. Well, thanks for watching this episode of Making It Work. Like and subscribe, and leave us some comments. Tell us if you have done some book binding. If you have any ideas or suggestions that might help her out. Thanks.